I'm taking this opportunity with this session today, given that we have the after meeting discussion to talk about leads and how we can make this a bit simpler. Oftentimes we at Secular Big Book Study, we've been honored and graced with leaders that do like really nice presentations and slide decks. And I think oftentimes that might give the idea of like way more buy-in or investment is needed to be a lead than might really be the truth. So today's lead is going to be a bit more loose. The way I've planned on kicking off the Tradition 1 and then Tradition 2 is we'll go right into the reading. So we'll read Tradition 1. I'll go into that right now. Then I'll do my own personal thoughts on it. Again, these are just my personal thoughts. And then we'll open it up for shares. It's about a 6-minute chapter. And then it's a very quick one. And then we'll go into Tradition 2, about 12 and a half minute chapter, and do another round of shares. I don't have an elaborate slide deck, both by reality and by design. So hopefully that works out. Tradition 1, each member of AA is but a small part of a great whole. AA must continue to live, or most of us will surely die. Hence our common welfare comes first, but individual welfare follows close afterward. So I had several thoughts that came up when I was preparing for this chapter. And again, for those of you that may know me, you may recall that I've mentioned I'm doing the first read of the 12 and 12 by virtue of this group. I've been in close proximity to the traditions for several years, well, a few years now. But I've never actually sat down and read the book. And I think much like going through the several certain chapters of the big book and earlier parts of the 12 and 12, there's certainly some flowery Christian prose that we have to kind of muddle through as a secular reader, or at least when I, as a secular reader, go through this book. The capital H his, the capital G God are a bit much for me at times. But the thing that drives me is that I don't think that this book is just paying lip service to secular people, to non-Christian people, when they say that the group defers to like the sanctity of the group through him. I think they're more leaning on the actual use of the word group than the word him. And for me, at least, my higher power when it comes to AA, or my higher power in general, actually is the group. It is the other alcoholic. It is the socialization that one has, talking either one-on-one right now in a group, hearing other people talk. It's that socialization that keeps me sober, and it's isolation that would kill me, I know. So putting the spirit of the group first and foremost, ahead of even the individual, makes sense. And the other part that came to mind for me with Tradition 1 is how it relates to the safety statement. So for those of you that are here, you're all obviously online, and you are familiar with the troubles that online AA meetings often have with trolls, bombers, whatever you call them. And on its face, the activity of bouncing and maintaining a secure meeting kind of goes against the pure reading of the traditions. If you read it pure, like we must never turn away an alcoholic, which how do we know a troll is not an alcoholic, but they're a disruptor. And there's language written into the safety statement and later commentary that I've seen that kind of delineate this gray area. But preserving the security and the safety of the group as a whole, first and foremost, comes to mind when I think about how we maintain our meetings. That's what Tradition 2 in the long form this time, to kind of kick off my initial share and then do a quick personal share and then open it up again. Tradition 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscience. So my personal feeling on this is I think that this tradition was a bit more strongly demonstrating that the group conscience really was the primary theme of this, no matter how much it was dressed up with capital G's and H's, in my opinion. Um, because in this case, like 40% of the chapter, 40% of the tradition was that example about, you know, the guy selling out AA or wanting to make money, and the group conscience convincing him not to or telling him not to. And I just want to also just mention, I believe this is just my guess, that the content of the dilemma faced in the example in the latter part of the chapter, selling out to a hospital, is spoken a bit more clearly in tradition 6, I believe. Again, uneducated here. And so I think the heart of why it's in this chapter is more about the demonstration of the group conscience trumping the de facto leader of the group. And I've, my short term, coming up to 4 years now in AA, I definitely have had my interactions with bleeding deacons and elder statesmen. It's an interesting experience, probably of my own, I'm sure, in some method. I've been one of each, I'm sure, or at least of the deacon side. And it's just an interesting way. It's interesting to read the traditions and go, oh, they had the same problems that I experienced in my own short meetings I've already had. Anyway, I thought it was a really interesting chapter. I definitely think that the group conscience, being kind of mediumed through these elder statesmen who are able to evoke and espouse the values of AA and the traditions of AA, brings clearly to me. It can't just be one king or a council or whatever that is in charge of a group. That group will just die.